All right, so taking a look in here today. Haven't really done an update video, and I apologize. I'm really trying to review tickers that we have in our portfolio. This, like, I would say I want to be done by May, really having a refined um, portfolios. I am going to cut some tickers. I am going to, I guess, mothball them, really, and then add some new guys based upon kind of the trends we're seeing in healthcare, and then also possibility of regulatory, government, etc., being a little bit bigger of a heavy hand in the next couple of years. That being said, let's take a look at what we have right now. So here's this sucker that we broke, came through. I'm going to say that this is something we need to watch out for, because I think even if we have this nice little rebound that we're seeing here, this is the area where you're going to run into trouble. So you have anchored VWAP coming from the high, have several downtrend rays, which, hey, we're still on this one. And then, but we came down, retested this one. So you can see, like, obviously these are not perfect, but you can see how even all through the headlines and there's the bank is failing and all that stuff. First of all, Fed's not gonna, let that happen. Like the crisis that they're trying to put out there and that they're proposing, because one, it gets attention, it gets people to watch their TV a little bit more, gets them to read a few more articles. Is JP Morgan gonna fall apart? All that stuff. Should you go get all your money out of the bank? All that stuff, right? So we can still see that it's still playing within the model. Nothing's crazy. Nothing's panicky. Everything is still, the volume is bots, right? It's still computers. Computers are still going to follow the rules because that's what they do. It's if-then statements. So we are still within, we're just testing the outer boundary of the daily channel here. So there's that. That's a one from the uptrend. So the angle of attack is up on the immediate term. We could see maybe this is, let's see if we got this one. This one got broke. Yeah. So did it get, yeah, it popped up and retested it. I'm just trying to figure out where we're at here. So yeah, there's that. So that's probably it right there. Now you could say, oh, what about these, shadows coming down, tails, whatever you want to call them. As long as they really end above them, like, it's okay for things to flash below, especially in pre-market, in which I cannot tell you. I think yesterday's or 2 days, one of these ones that are below is definitely pre-market. But we can see that these just long tails here, wicks or shadows getting her up. Now we're selling off a little bit in the morning here, which is we ended here, ran into a bunch of anchored VWAPs. You can see this is just turning into a spaghetti mess in here, which I apologize, but also it does illustrate how much nonsense is going on in here, right? So we're getting to a point, if we go back, we look at the monthly, and you could have seen it right. We're kind of getting into this. We're wedging in, or pennant, more of a pennant because it's symmetrical in a way. But the idea is that we're getting convergence, right? We're coming up. We're still pretty far up off the bottom in my, well, not too far, but we're off the bottom. And after a year of slowly coming down, and then now moving kind of sideways. I mean, really, has been too much a big move since. What, about a year ago? Oh, we're at May. So, yeah, but I mean, it's just, you can see, like, it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Now the move, what would we say here? I mean, we did get a higher high here, and we're getting higher lows, potentially. So a break above probably 400 would at least give us a shot to get all the way up to the top. put the monthly overlay in. We got a ways to go to the bottom. I'm still targeting May as kind of like when we might see this really start to run here. And then after that, who knows? I don't know how long it lasts. I don't know if it's to the end of the year. Now, I think also we might see in the next month or so, it's a possibility we come back down here and we retest these lows. The only problem with that is I think that would probably break the idea of the pennant, right? So we still have this sucker. This is the one we're looking at, which is... Yeah, so we're still here. So as long as this one holds, we can handle 379. I think the issue would be is if we really break below 380 and hold below it for the rest of the month, then we're probably going to look for another low here. Still holding this. It's a good sign. Monthly is weakening up big time, though. Look at that. Quarterly's getting weak. Let's talk how scary this could be. So, we're not even close to being that yet, right? So there's .com. Look how ridiculous the .com was in terms of being overbought, technically. And then I also want to point this out. Like, look where we were during the financial crisis. It's like, I hate to say that it's all according to plan, but I mean, you could tell. Like, this happened here. And I'll keep saying this. Like, we knew months before that there was an issue with a certain virus from a certain country. But there's technical indications that we were weakening up. Pretty anemic volumes rising up, right? Weakening up quarterly and monthly. Monthly overshoots the quarterly as the, yeah. Notice how every time that happens, you get a little pullback. That's the idea. It's one of my technical patterns. It's these divergences. What it is essentially all those different time frames where the computers are working. The big guys way at the top are getting tired, and then there's the next. It's like a, waterfall domino type effect where things start to get really heavy, but there's less players involved, and so it becomes overwhelming, and eventually everybody implodes. Point being is if we look way back, the longest ones are when we are really See, like this one, I mean, .com, we were so, like, I mean, they didn't even come close to retouch, like, took forever for that to really occur, to, like, bottom out. Are we seeing the same things, though? If we are, and we started this back in 2018, that's not what happened, right? I mean, weakened up here. Are we more like 2020? Or are we more like 2008? Or are we more about 2000? Fall apart here. It's pretty clean. What did 2020 do to the system? Well, it's fun to try to figure this out. Because if it started like well, here we'll say this most important thing, which is look, if you go back, you look at the 20 like .com, right? We were stronger in '98, and it took 2 years basically for it to really weaken up. So we were stronger in what? We are 2007. It didn't take long for that to really. She topped out. Now, if you're looking at the long term, this is another example. This, if you're thinking of a really long term, right? This is when you're in a day trade where it shoots itself up, comes in, consolidates, comes back up, and fails to get over. See, we had a perfect double top, and it was a weaker RSI, so the sell-off was there, right? And then it comes down, comes below, but then gets a nice solid bid, and then once it breaks above, it holds its strength for a prolonged period of time, starts to weaken up, pull back. What's funny is that this is kind of like this is like an, if you want to look at this can be very much like an opening day trade, all right? Which is it comes down, it gets a bid, and then fails, but then there's more strength than the sellers were expecting, and then it comes back up, looks like it might roll back over, it gets a nice solid bid, and then once it gets over this high, you can see like there's basically no turning back. So you can see this would happen in a couple hours here. Opening up, this would be mostly pre-market, right? It's coming up, it looks strong, sells off, and then comes back up. Oh no, it's failing, and then it gets a solid bid. Starts to come up. Oh, it might be rolling over, so you might be setting in a lower high. Still catches the bid, and then once it gets above this high, you start to see, it's struggling, but it was a grind, and you can see it's all blue from here on out, especially once it obviously hits above. And goes. Really never looks back. And then all of a sudden, 2018, we just have a couple hiccups. And I remember 2018, people were like, what's going on here? Because 2018 was pretty violent. What was it? The October, November, right? Yeah. October, November of 2018. And then we had Santa Claus rally that basically got her up off the bottom, right? At the bottom of the, yeah. So there you go. And she ripped back up. We had a year of it just going higher, and it was pretty. I mean, you could see the size of the candles. It was aggressively getting bid up. Now, this is where we're at. We're holding on support off the financial crisis low, and right, yeah. Yeah, so we're fine on the RSI in terms of support. But are we getting one of these situations? Are we getting this situation just right here? The only issue with the financial crisis, which we might be, I'm not going to get ahead of anything, but the big thing about the financial crisis is that there was actual like issues with money. Like companies were not reporting. It's not that like, oh, they're not reporting okay growth and like let's freak out about the lack of growth. Like companies were just falling apart. Banks were falling apart. Now we might be starting to see that right now, but I don't know. There's so much more money out there right now, and there's a lot of money sitting on the sidelines who are probably waiting for, a once in a lifetime, fully like generational grab of wealth in the market. They're waiting for the rest of this, the plebs to fall apart and just gather up as much of their land and stocks, and that'll be it. Maybe that's the game plan. Probably is, actually. So let's take a look at for today, though. Now that I went on, probably 10-15 minute rant there. I can't believe this sucker has been so influential. So it was the resistance here, then became support, came down. Once it got below, you could see resistance. Then it came support, came back down. Now it's resistance again. What is so important about December 2022? Oh, man. You can see here. Here's the bottom. There's, October. So kind of added as some support here once it's below, and then resistance, support too, and now it's become resistance. Look where. So we're sitting on this right now. This is where we could make a stand and possibly start to get the bid up. It's 8:45 here, Eastern Standard Time. So we have. Let's actually go in on the. Let's see if we got that 8 o'clock. So here's the 8 o'clock reset. So it doesn't look good. We might have a chance if we can get above. Yeah, this probably have to get above 392.50 area, and that might give us enough. And then obviously we'd have an issue once we get to about 393.50. Thoughts on ESPR? I'm on SRPT. I'm hoping it falls down a little bit more. I'm gonna play this sucker. They are gonna have an AdCom, and that was released last night. I think like 4:30. I thought I put it into the chat, and I don't know what happened. I was on my mobile, which can be hit and miss sometimes. I heard it's great on your guys' end, but not for me. You guys, members, it's fine, but for anybody who runs a marketplace, contributor or marketplace runner, whatever you want to say, sometimes it's a little rough. 4.2, that has to be news driven, right? Oh, they did their Q4. I thought they did that like a month ago. Shit. That's pretty good. I'll have to check. That might have to be on our list. Can't stop this one. Look how technical it's trading too. Clean, clean, clean. Nice solid break. Just going. Came up here. Look at that. 1, 2, 3. Double tap. So initial contact, double tapped and went. So 3 hits in a row. Just grinding up. Hulks did, I think, all right too, right? Still a little rich for my blood, but you can see it right there. Tap, and then you can see it. Yeah. So she's fun. She's running into it now. The angle of attack definitely is to the downside, but keep an eye if you really want to get on Hulks. Hulks Logic's a good company. It's just let her go. You know, it's like tell me who else you got. Who else is gonna do it? Huh? Just let it go. They don't want to. This is the one they want. This is one of the ones they want. They just want to like accumulate, keep it down here. Just keep it low. Because what are you going to do about them? They're just amassing cash. Cash pile is just amassing. Oh no, what happens if there's another company that comes along? They get bought by ISRG. They keep growing. If not, someone's going to have to acquire them. It's either, they're every time there's been a challenger, they've either proven to still be superior, or they've found a way to improve. When you're looking at bioreactors, now the growth isn't crazy with ISRG, but the reason why it's one of my favorite bioreactors is because it's almost permanent growth. They're the best at what they do. No one else can handle what they do. Anyway. Oh, I'm getting really ranty this morning, huh? Vive. You were on my watch list a week or so ago. Oh yeah, I think it was just not really happy with their actual performance. I'll tell you this, like, here's a few things. People ask me why I'm not, like, ultra bullish on, say, healthcare technology. I like them, but the problem with like software, those types of services is, although if it's good, it's going to be lucrative and it can be easily acquired, right? So there's a lot of upside, but it is the risk-reward balance is right there. It is right smack in the middle. Like, yeah, it's high risk reward to like, hey, you could get a lot up there, but that risk is also very high in that, like, hey, somebody can come along, you don't even know they're coming, right? They don't have to do any like major clinical trials with data releases, and there's like, it's showing, like, what's in your rear view when you're like a biotech or pharmaceutical usually, right? No one can just be like, surprise, we have the cure for cancer. Like, you can't really do that. I mean, you could propose that you have it, and you're going to get hype, and there's going to be rumblings on the street and then in the medical community really early on in your preclinical development, your R&D stage. If you really come across something, and it's going to cost you so much money to get it through. So you're going to have to tell somebody else, unless it's something like Pfizer or somebody who can do it internally. But you're going to have to go out and you're going to have to explain to somebody, and they're going to be like, I got this thing going on. These guys might have a legitimate cure for cancer, or they're going to publicly go out and say, hey, we got a cure for cancer, and see who shows up, right? Some like university lab or something like that. Anyway, point being is, in healthcare technology, you can be really low key and then just explode on the scene. Now, it's not like instantaneous, but if it is that unique and it can't be just instantly, copy and pasted or re-engineered by another company, because those types of things in terms of IP are very hard to defend, to put on the defense. If someone else comes up with it and it's slightly different, the IP protection on software tech is not as good as, say, a molecule, right, or a robotic arm for surgery. So point being is, I don't like them that much because they're short-term plays, and some of them really do work out for the long term because they figured something out, and they also have the expertise, meaning you're not just buying some code, you're buying an actual business with customers, and there's a service behind it. They have quality people working for them. not just like in terms of tech, but actual professionals in the industry that they're trying to service. So, and that's part of the game, and when I pick software tech, it's usually really high risk reward, and they could be actually reporting growth, but it's going to be hard for them to be in the bioreactor. They're going to be down that bio boom range, because even if they've been profitable for several years, you look around, it's like, well, they could be in a crowded industry, or what they're trying to service. And or it's just like, hey, these guys, just think about them. They just popped up like 2 or 3 years ago. What's stopping somebody else coming in and doing the same thing? And then either taking some market share or completely out-competing them, right? So, all right, there's another rant. Wow, I'm ranty. Really? We only had 1 cup of coffee today. Maybe it's all pent up because I haven't really done any videos lately. Soapbox. What are we doing now? We got just NVO, I think, was down yesterday, right? Yeah. So she's just bouncing back up. Got to the bottom of the Keltner channel. Now she's trading above the anchored VWAP. They don't have one for this one. Let's put this one in here, if I can get it to work. Yeah. So that's where we are here. See, anybody want to talk about like headlines? A bad headline. So I'll say this: a good headline probably created, like we get this, right? But notice how it just like kind of comes down to the bottom of the Keltner channel, starts to drift up, gets to the top, comes back down. Now that's obvious. That's how things typically work, right? But you get these big, now when it gets really outside it, then it gets slingshot way. I mean, see how it's just, the idea is the further you get outside the standard deviations, the harder it's going to snap back, right? Because there's not going to be a lot of people who want to. There's some like ideas of, hey, not a lot of people want to sell down here, right? So people are going to, and there's also going to be people looking to buy. So you get that real quick snap back up, right? So you can say it in that way, but the computers that are handling this is when they start doing it. Like, hey, we're too far out, right? And there's some people still pushing up. We're going to sell a little bit, but hey, once you get back to the middle line, look. Oh, man, that's a good, I mean, now there's obviously a trend line here, but notice it's like right in the middle of the Keltner channel. These standard deviations are how these things work, right? Well, this is where we'll hang out. We're not making, we're out, like, it's in, right, in this case, it's in between. I'll show you here. That's not even close. Come on, come on. So we ran into it here, but why are we're hanging on that anchored middle of the Keltner channel. So we get pushed out. Right? We're gonna get pushed out. This is the parameters. So they can float around in here this whole time. You think something's going on, but it's just waiting until it gets finally pushed out in some way. Once it gets pushed out, right, comes on down, hits the bottom of the Keltner channel, and then gets reacquired on the uptrend, and it goes. It's like a pinball machine, really, Just constantly getting bounced around off bumpers, and there's a lot of different bumpers. There's walls, and there's levers, and there's other things that are gonna, you get the big levers, which are these big Keltner channels, standard deviations. They're the ones that are gonna bounce things around, and there's all these little bumpers that are kind of like going off once it hits it. You got the all the anchored VWAPs and all those and moving averages and all that, and they're just bouncing them around. But ultimately, it's the bigger levers that were driving it. So we gotta find those big levers, which are usually at the bottom. You get some RSIs. There's a lot of things. It's a bigger pull, right? Really loading up. It's the 2 big levers at the bottom. I got nothing really that's like making me really feel like we need to do something today. Because if I go back and we look at the SPY, geez, that's, I mean, 390. She's sitting right there. I'm kind of hands off today, guys. Yesterday, I'm looking at only healthy dividends, really. ESPR is the only bio boom. Sorry, and SRPT. So those two. So SRPT, bio, and ESPR are my only ones because I think they're opportunities. Because the news is bad, but not really that bad. And up here, I'll have to take a look through probably the go through the sheets and see if I can hit, if we're near any of our buy one targets. Anything that's threshold right now, I think I might hold off on. Oh man, it's just a giant video game, people. Just a giant video game. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. MDT. I mean, you could go lower if you want. But if you're just looking for any dividend that's going to give you decent yield, their growth might not be great, but unless you're telling me that they're really going to cut their dividend in half, I don't know. Again, they're just such a market leader. They're not obviously the only, they're one of them, but they're in so many different things. They still have cash too, so not freaking out. This is probably one of my favorites right now. This is just, I'm getting so hungry for this one. It's such a fresh ticker, but it has a dividend. So, I mean, unless they're really thinking that these guys, I mean, it's like no one wants to pay attention to this thing. So OGN's probably the only one I'm looking at today. It's still below. MDT is also another good one. J&J, CVS, things that we've been looking at and I've been putting in the chat. ABT looks good too. She's weakening up, but potential double bottom. LH, she's another one. Looking pretty good. You could see, I mean, I'll go back to, so that's where it is. You can see that's where they're at. As long as it's ending above, that's the trend right there. Now it's pretty flat compared to this angle of attack. That's pretty steep, right? But there's a level in here that this. So look, you can see. Look at this. Came down. It's not as clean as I'd like, but the idea is it came down, popped out, and now she's riding down. She hit it 1 day, 2 day, failed to really get below it, right? Even though she's dropping, she's not aggressive. She's not, and now we're here. So LH is on. So maybe I'm J&J lower. Do you think the computers are not working on this sucker at all? I mean, what? It starts here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got a week in a row of this sucker being. Where are you coming off? Oh, she is probably coming off the top there. Didn't seem like, I thought maybe it'd be here. Maybe, no, you know what? Maybe I'll do 2. But, yeah, there she is there. So we're out to morning. Oh my gosh, maybe we are. Maybe I need to consider this. Yeah. So J&J, let's take a look at CVS here. Yeah, same idea. she's getting hit pretty hard too. CVS it's absurd. Okay. Is this a thing? Or is this just all political junk? Yeah, it's just political crap. Nancy Hochul wants to be president. Guarantee she freaking runs next time. Guarantee it. Nancy Hochul. GSK? You got something to show me? I was looking for you to come back. Ooh. She's got a clean one too. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Again, it can go below, like actually touch on that, but as long as it ends up above, it's still listening to the trend. Oh, we might have a long list. All right, I'm going to get this done. This is going to be probably upload way after. I apologize. Me going to my soapbox. That's probably going to kill this. So, long list of guys for healthy dividends. Bioreactor, I might have to go back and take a look. I'll add to that if I find anything. And then ESPR and SRPT are probably my only go-tos in BioBoom. Alright, I hope this was helpful. I'm sorry for the really long hiatus there. But I promise you I'm working hard. I'm really working hard. I'm working too hard. So I need to slow down. I need to do a little more of this. And be a little bit more present in the chat. I apologize for that as well. All right, you guys take it easy. List will be up in a moment. Good luck. Stay healthy.